Is it more expensive to live if you're single? We'll discuss it. Let's begin.
This is Debt Free in 30. Here's your host, Doug Hoyes.
Today, we are going to talk about what some people call the single tax. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but the real issue is it more expensive to live as a single person than as somebody who is married, common law, with a family, living with family, whatever? And this is a question that was asked by a listener, so I'm going to start by playing the question, and then I will introduce our guest, and we will get started. So the question that came in from the listener is this.
I would like to see something devoted to people who are single, who manage on their own, because it is much harder to live, actually, when you are by yourself, because you don't have that second income to help with the cost of everything. So anyway, so that's a suggestion. I would love to see something like that. Really enjoy your podcasts. I find them very helpful. And okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Excellent question. If you've got a question for us, I'll put a link in the show notes, but you can go to hoyes.com/DFI30 comments, and you can leave a voicemail message. You can leave a question or a comment there. So let's talk about this. According to Statistics Canada, 43.5% of Canadians are single, meaning they were never married or common law, or they are separated, divorced, or widowed. Kind of makes sense. Almost half of my clients, people who file a consumer proposal or bankruptcy at Hoyes Michalos, are single. So why are single people more likely to experience financial problems? My clients are getting younger. That's a trend that started in 2016, and now my average client is 42 years old. They used to be a bit older. Student loan debt and the rising popularity of high-cost lending products, particularly among younger Canadians, are leading causes. But a younger demographic is more likely to be single. That's not surprising. If I graduate with a bunch of student loan debt and can't find a great job, I'm more likely to delay starting a family. And if I have student loan debt and can't find a great job, I may have no choice to resort to more high-interest debt like high-interest rapid loans, and that makes the problem even worse. But there's more to it than that. So to discuss it, I'm joined by Heather Cudmore, a credit counselor here at Hoyes Michalos, who has been a guest on the show many times before. Heather, welcome back to Debt Free in 30. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, so let's get right into this then. And my first question, you heard my introduction, my preamble there, based on all the heavy-duty research I did. Based on the single clients that you have dealt with over the years, what would you say is the difference financially from being single and from being, married or common law? What's the difference? What's the real difference here?
Actually, I'd like to back up a second. I think you picked me because I am single.
Well, that's true. That's true too. So you can come at this from both angles. So
I truly can. Yes.
So you can give us the answer both as a person who's worked with a lot of single people over many years and as a person who is single. So what are the issues you see?
I'll tell you, for married and single, there are a whole lot of expenses that are actually the same. Rent. I don't get a deal because, I'm one person compared to two. Even utilities, heating, cooling. Honestly, it costs the same to heat a house for one person or for more people that are living there. Maintenance. When you're talking about houses, the cost, maintenance, major repairs, even things like light bulbs. I don't have a second income that, I can say, hey, pick up some light bulbs. That's ultimately coming out of my pocket. Another big one, car and, car expenses. If I choose to have a vehicle, it is going to cost me a little bit extra. And again, I don't get to share it. Also, other utilities like, your cable, your internet, your phone, those things, yeah.
So what you're saying is the cost of a one bedroom apartment is the same whether you're one person or two. A phone bill, like if you have a phone at your home, or I guess cable or internet would be an even better example because a lot of people don't have a phone at home anymore. But if I've got cable or internet at home, whether one person is watching the TV or two, the cost is the same. But the issue is, well, I've only got one income because I'm only one person. Now, there must be some expenses that are lower for a single person than for a family of 2 or 3 or 4, I would assume.
Oh, there's food.
Yeah, okay. So that would be
as
the
a single
obvious one.
person, I don't buy as much food as for 2 people. Entertainment costs. I don't have, a second. If I'm taking kids, I don't have kids that I have to take out. Activities, school activities, things like that. No, I don't have those.
Now, on the food point, so, I mean, what you're saying is obvious, obviously. I mean, I can only eat 2 hamburgers at one sitting by myself. If I've got someone else there, well, then we're going to eat 4, right? So obviously it's going to cost more. But the other issue is it is just as time consuming to make 2 hamburgers as it is to make 4. I assume, right? I throw the patties on the barbecue, and whether I'm cooking 2 or whether I'm cooking 4. So it is, from a time consuming point of view, just as easy to make meals for more than one person as it is for one person. And so are you more likely as a single person to say, well, you know what, I'm not actually cooking a full meal. I'm going to, I'm going to get takeout. I'm going to do something different. Is there a different mentality there, or do you think, no, it's really all the same?
I think there can be a different mentality. I think you really have to be disciplined to sit back and say, no, it's worth my while to cook from home, instead of ordering in, instead of going out. The cost of my meal compared to a cost of a restaurant meal, it's a big difference.
Yeah, huge difference. And I think that's good advice, whether you're married or single. It's in most cases less expensive to make it yourself. Okay, so we've identified the problem. And I think everyone would agree that there are financial disadvantages when you're single for the reasons we just talked about. I'm paying the same cell phone or the same cable bill, whether there's one person or 2 person. So let's get to the practical advice section of the show. We're not going to leave it to the end. We're going to do it right now. What is the solution then? So what are the kinds of advice you would give to someone who is single and who has got some financial challenges?
My number one advice, and actually I would say this is probably not just for singles, for everybody, get an emergency fund. The stress of living paycheck to paycheck is real. A lot of people are doing that. So if you can get away from living paycheck to paycheck, you put a little money aside, you are then prepared for those life emergencies, because life emergencies are going to happen. Your pet's going to get sick.
I'd like to talk more about pets, because that's a big issue. But you mentioned cars earlier. That would be the other obvious one, right? So if my car breaks down, I can't just take my spouse's car to work because I'm single. So I've got to have that kind of extra cushion there to make sure it's covered. Now, pets are an interesting one because, and I don't know if this is true. I'm just going to start making up facts here because I'm doing a podcast,
Deal.
right? That's what I do. I just make stuff up. But I could make the argument that you are more likely to have a pet if you're single than if you're, not. Now, that's probably not true, because if I got kids, maybe I want them to have a pet. So I've got a pet because I've got a family. But I could see being single. Well, I want to have someone around the house and, the dog will bark if someone comes near or whatever. So I can see how single people would be quite likely to have a pet, but that can also be a financial burden. So what can happen when you have a pet? Like what can go wrong? I guess you're talking about getting hit with a vet bill or something. Is that what you're talking about?
Big one. And actually, maybe even not a vet bill. I tell everybody that sooner or later, their pet is going to get hit by a skunk. Be prepared. And so, back to the emergency fund, having some funds set aside. So when that happens, you're prepared, and the vet bill too, having a good, I always say too, having a good relationship with, your vet, and if you have an emergency fund, you can pay the emergency fund and then maybe work out a payment arrangement even with the remaining amount. If you're, a repeat client, you can work out payment plans with the vet.
Yeah, they'll be much more likely to give you a deal. And just for my own edification here, so when my pet gets whacked by a skunk, what is the treatment? Do I have to give them a bath in tomato juice? Like, I'm not really up on that.
I think tomato juice is one. I unfortunately, I got to say, I do not have a pet, nor kids. So, I don't have to worry
I think the
about,
treatment is the
cleaning.
same. I think this treatment is the same for kids when they get whacked by a skunk too. It's
Pretty sure.
bad.
Actually, I do think there is stuff that you can buy at the vet.
There probably
and
is
that will help.
Something
so
more.
Make a friend of your vet and find out what it is that you need.
There you go. So anybody who's watching this on YouTube, you should be liking and subscribing and everything, but you can also put a comment in the comments about what are you supposed to do when you get sprayed by a skunk. So, okay, so basic principle, have an emergency fund, whether you're single or not. It's just, a basic financial principle, but if you're single, you don't have that other income to rely on, so it's even more important. Now, let me ask you about the topic that we've discussed many times on this show before, and that is budgeting. Now, I personally am not a fan of budgeting for reasons that are well documented. You, I think, are more of a traditionalist in that you think a budget is actually a good idea. So make the case here. Why do you think a single person, and probably a married person, should have a budget? What are the pros, cons, advantages? Why do you think that's important?
If you do, I'm going to argue. I completely disagree with you. I do think you need to have a budget, and I do actually think you need to write it down. It doesn't have to be extremely formal, but, some idea of where you're spending your money. The average person will get paid on Friday and poof, the money's gone. So if you have no idea where poof that money went, back up and figure out where that money is going. Once you figure out where your money, you're spending your money, then you've got a better opportunity of saying, where can I make economies? If you have no idea how much you're spending on your subscriptions, if you have no idea how much you're spending on your cable, if you don't know where you spend money, how are you able to turn around and make changes and to do something better? So I'm a believer of, yes, some way, doing some type of a budget, writing it down. And then when you're looking at where you're spending your money, nothing is sacred. You can look at every place you are spending money and saying, where can I improve?
Well, I agree with the nothing is sacred point. I mean, you can make changes anywhere. And I won't belabor the point because I know you disagree with me on this, and you're the guest here. But,
thank you.
I agree with you that you should know where your money is going. Totally agree with you on that point. Where I have a problem with budgeting is it's hard. And so people try to do it and they don't record everything and they get off track and then they feel even worse. So my solution is, yes, I totally agree. For the next month, write down everything you spend money on or pay with your debit card. So there's a record of it in the computer or whatever. And by all means, go through it, look at it, see where I can adjust. Nothing is sacred. I totally agree with that. I'm a bigger believer in automating everything. Set it and forget it. So instead of trying to budget to pay your phone bill every 2 weeks when you get paid or once a month, set it up so that every 2 weeks, half the phone bill just comes out of your bank account and gets paid. But I think we both agree on the general concept that is you got to know where your money's going because otherwise how do you make adjustments? So let's talk about the different elements of a budget or real life, as I like to call it. And I want you to give me your comments on, single versus not single. So the biggest single expense that most people have is probably housing, either their rent payment, their mortgage payment, and all the other costs associated with that. Now, obviously, as a single person, I guess you don't have to live in a 5-bedroom house, which is what you'd have to do if you had 5 kids. But are there any other suggestions you've got as to how to keep housing expenses under control?
Well, one of the first ones is, can you split those expenses? So, you may, if you are living in a 5-bedroom house, can you get 5 roommates? Family, a roommate. That is a great way of reducing some of the costs. If you're in a university town, the other solution or suggestion that I always make, foreign exchange students are, a great way of, helping to reduce those costs.
Can you own a home if you're single? Or do single people have to rent?
No, I think you can. But again, you have to have a really good plan in place. Can I put a bigger deposit down so my monthly payments are lower? Again, do I need a bigger emergency fund? Do I want to limit or maybe not have a car. Because if I don't have a car, I don't have those expenses. What I can do is put that money over to my mortgage and my rent. Again, do I choose not to take vacations? That rather than, traveling to Europe every year, I'm going to put that money into my house or staycation. I have a really nice fix up my backyard, and I can have a really nice summer vacation in my backyard, gardening.
Well,
Doing the things I enjoy.
And if you own a house, there's always something that needs fixing. So that could certainly be
so
it.
True.
And I guess what you're saying is, sure, you can own a house when you're single. You can own a house when you're married. But either way, you got to have a plan. And as a single person, you're the only one who can come up with a down payment. You're not splitting it with your partner. So no reason you can't do it, but it's probably going to take a bit longer, a better plan or whatever. So, okay, so that's housing. The second biggest item on most people's budgets would be something to do with transportation. So you've already talked about a car, and you've said, well, if you don't, and this again is true for anybody, if you don't need a car, can you get away without it? So can you live in a place that is walkable or bikeable or transitable to wherever you need to get to, your work, your grocery store, whatever, bikes, carpools, whatever, transportation to work. So that makes sense. And again, you've already told us this. If you're a single person, you can't borrow your spouse's car. So what can you do on the transportation side? So, okay, that makes sense to me. The third item on the budget would be entertainment. So, okay, what are your thoughts then on how a single person can keep those costs under control?
I think we, again, have to get back to spending quality time, not money, with someone. You always feel that, entertainment, it needs to cost something. Do I have to go out to a movie? Do I have to go out to dinner? Do I have to, go to a bar? What am I doing? Quality time. What can you do with, your friends and family that you're really going to enjoy? Actually, COVID made us rethink our cable TV package, and our 300 plus channels that we watch probably 3 of them on. Do we need that whole package? Can we downsize to exactly what we need, or do we completely get rid of a cable package and just stream whatever we want to watch? I've moved into a smaller town. Community events. There is a whole lot going on in a lot of these communities out there, and low or no cost events out there. So, if you're looking for entertainment, find out what's going on at your library, find out what's going on in, your community, and you can get involved with a lot of things or go to a whole lot of things, not costing a whole lot of money. Gym membership. Sorry. Shall I spend money on a gym membership, $100 plus a month, or am I more likely to go for a walk? Am I more likely to go for a bike ride? Am I more likely to go, do something, do gardening, do lawn work, than spending $100 and actually going to the gym?
Yeah,
I'm not making it to the gym.
You're not making it a gym. That is not your thing. You like budgeting, but not gyms. Okay.
True.
So
true.
I also don't go to a gym, but I do have the stuff at home, and I do my own thing. And I don't know if it costs $100 a month at the gym or if it costs $20 a month. I have no idea. And we are recording this in December, just before Christmas. And so, of course, New Year's is coming up, and that's when everybody decides, I got to get in shape, I got to go to the gym, and that's when all the gym memberships get sold. What you're saying is, hey, look, if you're actually going to go, fine. And that, I guess, can also be, it's not just good for you, but it's also entertainment and something to do. But if you're going to be spending the money and not doing anything, would you be better off, like you say, going for a walk, park your car at the end of the parking lot and walk in and do stuff outside? I think that kind of makes sense as well. So, okay, so you've given a whole bunch of ideas on the entertainment side of it. So let's get to the really, maybe it's not the biggest dollar item, but it's absolutely the most important item on everybody's budget, and that is food. Every single human being I know likes to eat food, including myself. So you've already given us some tips on this, but fire away when you're meeting with someone and they say, boy, yeah, price of groceries has gone up by a lot this year, which it has. What are some practical things you tell people to help with those costs?
The number one thing is I probably tell everybody to check out the internet. There are loads of ways to save money on groceries online. So do some research. Find some of the, tips and tricks that are out there that you will be able to use, that, works with your family or works with you. Um, Meals for under $5, meals for under $10 are, great spots to start. And, you can save money that way.
Now, are you a fan of coupons? Now, I remember when I was young, which was 50 years ago, my mother would go to the newspaper and clip out the coupons and she would bring them to the store. Now, I don't think there are newspapers anymore. I don't think anyone's clipping coupons, but I'm told that it's, to your point, it's all on the internet. You got these apps and things like that. So is that a thing? Is that something people should be doing?
Yes, if you can take advantage of it, yes, definitely. I will say let me throw out my 4 top ways of saving money with food. Stop food waste. Get a plan. Plan's another word for a budget, but I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
Shop online and shop at a discount grocery store.
Okay, so those are good tips. So let's go through them one by one then. So stop food waste. So you're saying I should go to the grocery store every single day and just buy what I need for that night, or is there something more to it than that?
Actually, hey, Europeans are more like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what they will do is go and buy what they need. And now they're not buying everything else. All they're buying is what they need. So, they don't have a fridge full of food. And I'm a firm believer, if you have food going green in the back of your fridge, you've just wasted money. If you have to throw out food, you're throwing away money. I am the person that buys 7 bananas. Not 6, not 8. I buy 7. There's no sense buying 8 and convincing myself that, when the one goes bad, I'll put it in the freezer and make banana bread. It's not happening. I'm not making banana bread. So, for me to buy something extra that I think I'm going to need, it doesn't make sense. So, actually, how I've got around that is the plan. Now, I did not go out and do one of the meal planning. I've done my own meal plan. What do I want for breakfast? And so, breakfast for me is a banana, cheese and a bagel. Oh, and my coffee. And so that's what I have for, breakfast in my fridge. What am I having for lunch? What do I normally eat? That's what I'm going to buy. For supper, I usually try to find out what protein's on sale. And that's what I'm going to buy for that week. So if chicken's on sale, I may buy it. And hey, I'm going to divide it also and put some in the freezer. So, next week when nothing's on sale, I'm going to go to my freezer and be able to pull out, some chicken or, whatever was on sale last week and basically make a meal from that.
And so you're going to the store once a week. That's why you're buying 7 bananas, because you're going to have breakfast 7 times. And I actually am a big fan of banana bread, so I disagree with you on that point too. I think you should be buying extra and making banana bread for everybody. But I get what you're saying. It's, if you buy what you need, then you don't have to throw anything out. And I guess if you're buying broccoli, then it's already green. You don't have to worry about it turning green. But there's no doubt that vegetables are not going to last in your fridge for 4 weeks. So you got to be much more cut and dry about it. Now, my wife tells me that it's a good idea to make a plan, but when you get to the store and find out that the thing you wanted to buy isn't on sale, something else is on sale, or you were going to have beans tonight and the beans look horrible in the store because, that big grocery store chain owned by that really rich guy, they're sometimes put all the junk on the thing. So you got to be able to be flexible too, right? You can't be too tight on it. Okay. So now the third thing on your list was about shopping online. So you're going to have to explain that to me, because I thought a grocery store was a place you went to.
Oh, I have learned that if I go to the grocery store and I wander around, I have this bad habit of, yes, not picking up the green beans, but I will pick up the broccoli and the asparagus, or I will, buy 2 or 3 two or three things other that I normally would not buy. And on the flip side, if I buy everything online, and all grocery stores, most grocery stores are doing it these days. I can shop online. I basically roll up to the pickup spot, phone in and tell them I'm here to pick up my delivery. They roll it out to my car and boom, I've got my groceries. So I'm not going in. I'm not buying the extra stuff that, I really don't need. And yes, I have learned I spend a whole lot less by shopping online than actually going into the grocery store.
Well, and that's, I guess, the high-tech way of making a list. I'm only going to get what's on the list because I'm buying it directly that way.
And you can control, what you feel your budget should be. If I only want to spend $50, I can, as I'm adding things into my cart, I can see exactly how much it's coming up to and, stop at $49.99.
Yep. Maybe
that's all I'm spending.
I can't buy that extra thing this week. I'll substitute something else, whatever. So, okay. So that's, again, I guess my problem with shopping online is I don't know if the beans are any good and I'm worried, but if I'm buying something like canned tuna, well, then I guess I don't have to worry about it. So, now one other tip, and you mentioned this when we had the food professor on a few months ago, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. I believe he said you should shop at 3 different grocery stores, not every day, every week, but you've got your kind of main grocery store. You've got maybe the big box type place where you buy real stuff in bulk. You go to Costco once a month and buy all your toilet paper or whatever it is that they have on sale. And then you've got a third one, which is either a discount store or a specialty store, which might also be a discount store. So if I like a certain type of noodles that are sold at that specific little small place, that's a good way to do it. Again, you got to have a plan though to know which place has the best stuff. So, okay.
And
now,
when it's on sale.
And when it's on sale.
Can I buy it when it's on sale too?
Right. Because you're always better off doing that. So now we've only got a few minutes left, and I know there's, maybe we'll do another show on all of these other things because you already had suggested a bunch of other things. Making a plan is a big one, preparing stuff in advance, and meal services and so on. So big picture stuff then. So I'm a single person. Are you a fan of trying to increase your income, side hustles, second jobs? Obviously, you can't work 90 hours a week, but is that something a single person should consider? I don't have to worry about watching the kids, I guess, so I can work a bit more. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
That's a choice everybody has to make. Do you want to? Do you have the time? Is it something you enjoy? Can you take a hobby? And again, make a job out of that and make a little extra cash. If it fits your lifestyle, go for it. And you can limit the number of hours you want to work. It doesn't have to be a second job. Other stuff, back again to the internet. More and more clients are talking about buy nothing groups where you can swap furniture, electronics. Sign up for your local buy nothing group and take advantage of some of the resources that, other people are getting rid of so that you can have.
Excellent idea. Okay, final question. This show is called Debt Free in 30. So, of course, we talk about debt on this show. So you've talked about how you can increase income, how you can reduce expenses. Give us your number one tip when it comes to debt.
Don't have it.
Don't have it. There you go.
Don't have it. Try to get rid of all your debt. Back again, if you have no debt, whole lot less stress in your life. So, and credit cards, we all think that credit cards are great to have, there's no problem. But, if you end up starting to carry a balance on there, the interest rate can be anywhere from 9 to 25+% on, some of those. You're paying a whole lot of money just to service that debt. So, can you not carry debt? If you use your card, pay it off every month. It makes your life a whole lot easier. And again, you're controlling the amount of how much you're spending. You're not going to go into debt and spend too much. What can you afford?
Yeah. And last week on the show, we had your pal Joel Sandwith on, who talked about the debt snowball versus the debt avalanche, which is the best way to pay off debt. And so I think if you have debt, again, whether you're single or not, getting out of debt is absolutely a thing to do. And I think the reason it's even more important when you're single is you don't have that same safety net.
The cushion. You don't have a cushion of a partner that you can say, hey, I'm not buying groceries this week. You have to.
Right. And by paying off debt, now you can begin a savings plan and investing and tucking money away, which again is something you have to do. Again, whether you're single or married, but as a single person, I've got to provide for my own retirement. I can't be relying on somebody else to do it.
Yes.
It's kind of as simple as that. So excellent. Well, those are a ton of great tips. We could have talked for another 2 hours, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again to talk about that. But Heather, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you.
So there you go. Heather Cudmore. I'll put links in the show notes. She does a lot of work in our southwestern Ontario region, the London, Windsor area, and has been doing this for a long time. That's, I think, a lot of very practical tips on how you can improve your financial situation, even if you're single. So that is our show for today. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and so on. If you're listening on the audio version, so that might be Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting app, again, please follow and subscribe so you're notified of each new episode, which comes out on Saturday morning. So, and click the links and make sure you're signed up. So that is our show for today. Thanks for listening. Until next week, I'm Doug Hoyes. And next week, I'll just give you the teaser here. We are getting into some shows setting you up for the end of the year. So you're definitely gonna want to tune in for that. So thanks for listening. Until next week, I'm Doug Hoyes. That was Debt Free in 30.